This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Tired of ads crashing your comedy podcast party? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free comedy to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime subscribers. Some shows may have ads.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Post-Match Raw, the Cup edition. I am Guy, your usual host, and I'm here to talk about the first leg of the semi-final, but I'll introduce my guest before we get into the game. Dave, how are you doing, Dave?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just conscious of the fact people may be able to hear my dog snoring, but they'll have to put up with it.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's part of the show.
As long as we don't hear you snoring, I think we're good.
That's fine. Might be a better show without me, to be fair. Anyway, you heard Jim chuckling in the background there. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing fine. Can you turn the dog's mic up a bit? Can't quite hear him.
Yeah, I'll move over him. Oh, Christ. Right, so we won the game, but as we'll get through, it wasn't the easiest route to a win, ladies and gentlemen. It was a bit of a tough one, but Jim, I'll start with you. Obviously, we do tend to look at the starting 11s first, and Liverpool, we've got loads of people missing from AFCON, Asia Cup, injuries, suspensions, just playing every game possible in a season again, which is not horror-inducing at all. But what did you make of our team?
Yeah, I think every time I've done a Raw, I've been saying, we've only had 4 recognised outfield players on the bench, and then 3, and now it was down to 2, wasn't it? So, yeah, I mean, basically the team was the 11 that started, or one of the 2 outfield players, Nunez and Gakpo, that didn't start. And I think as we saw, I think the team that ended was closest to the team that should have started, maybe. Pretty much as I would have expected. I think Kelleher is going to get in goal for this competition, so you expect that. And it was a good enough team. I think Bradley impressed me tonight, but, it shows how bad the injury crisis basically is, that the last right back standing is playing at left back. So Conor Bradley's had to come in. Kind of as you expect. And really, I think Gravenberch, I think when we saw him on Saturday, we thought there's a little bit of sign there, a little bit of promise maybe. He's not been as bad as he has been, which isn't saying he was great, but he was, there was a little bit of an improvement. And then, so you think, well, okay, give him a chance, and give him a chance, see if he takes it with both hands, and he didn't. So fair enough, you've got to give players a go. You've got to give them a chance now and again, and it's up to them to do the other bit, though, isn't it, and take the chance, which they didn't. But yeah, on the whole, I think it's kind of the side, in some ways, lots about it we would have seen. And when we've talked about Elliott being the one to replace Salah, it's not quite been working so far for some reason. I mean, he was good against West Ham in the last round, but he's not been as good, since. So I think this is something, again, though, how long do you wait with that for? How long do you persevere with that before you say, try something different. But yeah, I mean, I think Klopp really, I think he even said it, a bit of an interview with him before the game. I mean, someone was talking about him starting Bradley, and Klopp said, well, who else is there? And it wasn't having a go at Bradley. I think Klopp was just really pointing out how thin on the ground we are. And it'll be interesting, away from this match, with the break that we've got coming up and things, let's see what happens. Are we going to just hope all these players come back, or are we going to do a bit of spending to get some backup? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, as in what we should do, but I think I know what the answer is on what we will do, which is we'll do nothing.
Yes, I think that will be the answer, but hopefully at least the fullbacks are meant to be back this month, aren't they? And I think Dom should be back this month, so
yeah, it'll be yeah, that's it. We'll figure all about this soon, won't we? We'll be sad that we can't fit more of them in the team at once.
Hopefully. Dave on Scouted today obviously did the quick preview for this game, and the main question mark was seemingly the fullback positions and what formation we'd play. And I think you and Carl agreed if we did stick with a 4-3-3, it probably would be Gravenberch. But what did you make of the fullback and the midfield decisions?
Well, he got the midfield decision wrong. I mean, there's just no way around it. I didn't pick Gravenberch in my midfield at any stage, so no, don't put Carl's nonsense on me. But the fullback decision he got right. Conor Bradley was really, really good. He bit of a shaky start. I don't think he was helped by the fact that his centre-backs looked a little bit off. Virgil clearly wasn't 100%. And he had the unfortunate slip in their goal, which not his fault at all. He just slipped. But I thought from then on he grew into it. In second half, he was a one-man wrecking crew down that flank. I think Sam Maguire tweeted with about 10 minutes to go he was 5 of 5 in tackles. I think he won a couple more after that. That's really, really impressive. Picked up a good free kick for us. Interchange with Gakpo well when Gakpo started drifting to the right-hand side. And just made clever runs and very nearly got an assist after doing really well to get himself back on side, making a second run and getting the ball into Darwin. I thought Conor Bradley was a big, big plus for us.
So switched on, isn't he? He's so switched on. He and not like.
But he's like Robbo. Like he's so like Robbo in everything he does. Even the way he runs. I always think Andy Robertson when he's running full pelt down the wing. Do you know when you see a child who's made a homemade cape and decided that cape means they can run faster than the wind, and they put their arms back and their head down and they go charging? That's what he runs like. And he's got that tenaciousness that Robbo has. He's a tough kid as well. And I was so impressed by him tonight and so happy to see him have such a good performance, because like he's going up against Willian, who's a really, like, I know he's not got the pace anymore, he's not the player he was, but he's a really crafty, really talented player. And he was trying to lure Bradley into a couple of challenges to try and win some free kicks, and Bradley wasn't biting on it. He was timing everything really well. Just a really, really good performance from him. Really, really good performance from Curtis Jones as well. I mean, we've come on so many of these pods since the change to the box midfield last year, and we've talked about how good Curtis Jones has been. But I feel like starting with the West Ham game a few weeks ago, because he was playing well at the start of the season, then he got sent off, then he got injured, then he had a poor run, and then he was out of the team. And when he got back in for that West Ham game, he was magnificent. He was brilliant at home to Arsenal. He was brilliant away to Arsenal as well. He was great against the Toon. He's just in a great vein of form right now. And when the next England squad comes out, if Curtis Jones is playing like this, outside of the fella in Madrid who's playing at an all-world level, no English midfielder deserves to be in the England squad right now more than Curtis Jones. He has been that good, that impressive. And because he's so malleable, you can fit him into whatever role, whatever system, whatever style. He'll just adapt to it. And that's what makes him a really valuable player to us. I thought he was great again tonight. And obviously the subs are what changed it for us, but we'll get to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd agree with that. But can I interest you in Jordan Henderson and Conor Gallagher in an England squad? Because that will be the reality.
It interests me absolutely not. You might interest some people that have either no eyeballs or, I don't know, are some sort of sadists. But no, I mean, look, Conor Gallagher's getting a lot of credit, and he's playing pretty well for Chelsea. Curtis Jones is playing at a completely different level and is a much better player than Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sticking with you, Dave, quickly for the Fulham team. Any surprises from them for you?
No, I think that's pretty much the team we had picked. I think we said Tom Kearney might start instead of Harrison Reed. Kearney has been playing pretty well in recent appearances, but Harrison Reed is the first choice next to Paulinho, especially when they go away from home and they want kind of legs and someone who's, you know, a battler in there. And we got what we expected from them. The only real question mark that we had was, would it be De Cordova-Reid with his pace, or would it be Harry Wilson because he has that set piece ability, the shooting ability? He went with De Cordova-Reid, and frankly, he had a couple of moments where he got in behind, but he spent most of his evening in Joe Gomez's pocket.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So, Jim, I'll come at you for the start of the game. We did start off quite well. We pressed well in the beginning. We did come into this game with a concern about a lack of creativity, because we did obviously miss Moore and Trent, who you'd earmark as the creators. And I think Darwin might be third in our assist numbers this season. I might be wrong with that. But we are missing a lot of creativity. But certainly the press was working at the beginning. But maybe it didn't click in terms of testing the keeper.
Yeah, this is the sort of Liverpool way lately that's kind of, well, it starts to drive you mad a little bit. And I try and sort of look at the positive and think, it's just Liverpool being patient, not waiting for the right moment. But you have so much of the ball, you're winning it back. You're not losing it that much, certainly not at that stage of the game. But there's just the other side can just basically sit back. It's almost like a training exercise sometimes for the opposition, because they're just not, well, they're not worrying too much about you doing anything. Leno had very little to do in the first half, certainly in that opening spell. And it's just the same thing that, there's enough players down there who've got creative ability in them to do something when they've got the ball, that just always seem to just be looking for that extra touch, that extra pass. And I've said it a few times, there's times when I wish you'd just have a shot, see what happens. As happened later in the game today, in a lot of ways, for our opening goal. You've got to just find ways to get past them. It's a different kind of team to someone who've played this season. Like if you think against Man United, who had absolutely no intention of doing anything but defend, and other teams like that down that end of the table. Fulham are more dangerous, I think. You sort of, whether that's played in our minds, I don't know. The 4-3 when we played them in the league not that long ago, they are a very dangerous team. They can catch you out very quickly. Not today, I must admit. I don't think we gave them too much today. I don't think Kelleher had a lot to do at all today. And as we've already mentioned, the goal that we'll come to was down to a mistake. But with the home team, we need to get some goals in the bag. We need to try and take a lead into the next leg. And it just feels like there's that lack of an end product. And, we hear people complain about Darwin and things like that. It's just from all of them, there's lots of times when they're in positions where they could just have a shot, just play the right ball through. And it just feels like it's always just that little bit, just a little bit overthinking maybe. But you can see it's in there. You can see they've got it. And when the confidence comes, as he did later today, and as it does so often in games, they can do it. But there's just something about this first part of a game. And, it's almost got to a stage now where I think we're like, as a team, like we need to have a goal. We need to go a goal down to look interested properly. And now that's not doing us down. I don't think we played massively badly. And I don't think Fulham are a bad team. So we were just a lot more close together, if you like, in that game. And I think you sort of pay the price. 15 minutes, lots of the ball. You don't do anything with it. They score. I mean, I do back this Liverpool team to come back from behind, as they have done so many times. But that's not the point. It's much better if you can get the first goal. Yet we just seem to always just sit back, just to be a bit too lackadaisical in our thinking.
Yeah, Dave, what did you make of the start of the game? We obviously had Jones had a shot from 20-odd yards out, pretty comfortable for Leno. When Tosin got caught on the ball. Elliott and Bradley combined quite nicely on the right. We had a good chance that was combined for Diaz and Jota. What do you make of our start?
Well, first thing I need to do is correct you. Darwin is not third on the assist list. Darwin is our top assister this year.
Is he?
With 10 assists. To go with his 8 goals, that's 18 goals or assists in about 1,665 minutes, which is a goal or assist every 92.5 minutes. So basically he's averaging a goal or an assist every single game. Mo has 9 assists, Trent has 8. So Darwin is our top assister this year. Now, obviously, he's not the creator that Mo or Trent
might
are.
Have been big chances created or something.
But yeah, though, like Mo, I think is running away with that league wide. Start of the game, I actually thought we started quite well. I actually thought, despite the lack of obvious creativity, I saw enough from Alexis with his ability to break the lines, Elliott with his dropping in, picking the ball up, buzzing around. He was here, there, and everywhere. At times in that early stage, he was popping up on the left wing. And I thought we were starting to look quite dangerous. Jota was buzzing around. Diaz was moving into central areas. Jones was picking the ball up and carrying it at them. And Gomez was getting forward on the overlap, as was Bradley on the opposite side. Bradley was actually playing quite high early on. And I thought we'd set our stall out. We were playing quite well. You mentioned a couple of half chances, I'd say, more than chances that we created. But it was just, we were kind of waiting on that final ball to click. And that's been the case a number of times this season. We were just waiting on that final ball. And unfortunately, it didn't come for us in that early stage. So we weren't able to create anything to really test Leno. And unfortunately, then we get punished for it.
Yeah, we do. Just before we come to their goal, Jim, a stat popped up on screen if you did have the Sky coverage. That was I've got him listed as Joe Gomez's 200th Liverpool appearance. I'm kind of shocked that it's not. I'm kind of shocked it's that much and it's not that much at the same time, because he's been here ages, but you sometimes do forget how turgid a time he has had with injuries. But he has been here ages, and when he has been fit, except maybe the last couple of years where he's had recovering from the horrendous injury, he's always been in rotation at the very least. But it's nice to see him getting consistent minutes, whether it is at full-back or centre-back this season.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with his full-back or centre-back. And I think, all the way through his Liverpool career, it's been, is he a full-back, is he a centre-back? And he's capable of doing a job in both positions. And I think what we've seen of him as a full-back in recent times, he's probably the best I've seen him play as a full-back. He's been excellent for most of the time. But yeah, I think, during that time, you think of the competition he's had in front of him. And, when it was Trent and Robbo as the full-backs, when it was Virgil and, say, Matty as the centre-backs, it's sort of, with all due respect, so when you've got those who are so good at that position, you're not going to fight past them if you're someone who's kind of quite good at two positions almost. And I don't, he sounds awful. I'm not doing him down, but I think that's been something that I think he's accepted, is that he's not, he's not a first choice member of the back four, but he's someone who'll come in when needed and can do a job. And I think, he's taken this chance with both hands. He's looking good. And I think, whether left back's the right place for him, when everyone's fit and well, will he play at right back? I can see him being sort of used at right back much more often. I'd like to see him used at right back more often, because I think using Trent at right back is, in the way we do this hybrid thing, just isn't working. So I'm hoping to see, out and out right back, and I think Joe can do that. We've seen it from him. He seems to have gained more confidence, and he's not being in recent games, he's not been one of those fullbacks, and I'm not thinking of anyone who used to wear a number 23 shirt. He's not been one of those fullbacks who looks frightened as soon as he gets near the halfway line, a fullback who's really a centre-back and doesn't want to go forward, as we've had in the past. He's shown a lot of attacking intent, and you need that to be any player in the Liverpool side, wherever you play. 200 games, I mean, yeah, there's still a feeling that he's sort of this young lad, he's going to break through soon, but he's been around a long time, hasn't he, as you say, but he's still, I mean, I don't know what age he is without looking it up. I'm not that good. I'm saying, he's still pretty young, still got a long way ahead of him. And he's one of the older heads in the side now. When you look at the ages of some of the players who were playing, said the other day when we took off a couple of players, 22 and 20-year-old, I think Jones and Elliott went off, didn't they? Bringing the kids on. Well, we were taking the kids off, so we've got a very young side. So with 200 games, that's a lot of experience, regardless of your age. And it's good. I'm just glad to see him. I just wish he'd score so we could stop hearing that stat every game.
Nah, it's part of the trivia now. Not till the Champions League final. Not till the Champions League final. He is 20. I need glasses, people. He is 26. That's 26. How old he is. Yeah.
That's young to me, you see.
We'll call him Adam Lallana now. The young person genes. Dave, anything you want to add on Gomez before we get into their goal?
No, I thought Joe had another good game, and at one point I was just wanting him to shoot every time he got the ball. I've no expectation that any of them are ever going to go in, but I like the excitement that maybe they'll go in. So just keep shooting, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dave, I'll stick with you for their goal. It's really sloppy from us. It's kind of a loose throw in, but you do lose possession from the throw in every now and again. But Van Dijk, soft header backwards. We don't react too well. Bradley slips, as you mentioned earlier on, and it kind of goes through Van Dijk and Kelleher, and not great from us.
I wouldn't put any blame at all on Caoimhín Kelleher. I wouldn't put any blame at all on Conor Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
I'd only put blame on Virgil here. It's just really, really poor. It's just a really, really soft header, and then he doesn't close Willian down well enough. And doesn't get his legs sorted, his feet sorted out. So it's entirely on Virgil. Like, it is entirely on Virgil. And with him, when he's walked into the dressing room at half-time, he's put his hand up and said, that's entirely on me, because that's who he is. He's not one that'll have a tantrum and look to blame somebody else. He'll have taken responsibility for that goal. And Caoimhín Kelleher, like, I have issues with Caoimhín. I think he's been largely poor this season. I think he did pretty well in the Sheffield United game. But if you look at him this season, he has faced 36 shots on target, and that's 14 goals that have gone in. So only 22 shots that he's faced on target he has stopped from going in. And if you look at the ones tonight, the ones that didn't go in were all pretty much straight at him. Like, this is the issue with backup goalkeepers, why you rarely see the great backup goalkeeper. You get good ones, and then they either leave or they become average because they don't play enough. And Caoimhín just hasn't played enough across his career to date. And to be honest, when you see he doesn't really inspire huge amounts of confidence in the defence ahead of him. He doesn't save anything that you wouldn't expect him to save. Like, it's not like Ali or like Leno tonight, where he's made a couple of saves that you just don't expect him to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Caoimhín needs to go somewhere and play regularly and play 35 games in a season and develop and start to grow as a goalkeeper and build his own confidence and build relationships with the defenders that play in front of him, which he just doesn't have at Liverpool because he hasn't had the minutes on the pitch. And I really like the guy, and the fact that he's Irish as well is great because, we had 4 Irish players on the pitch tonight, obviously with Caoimhín, Conor Bradley, Diogo Jota has the most Irish head in the world, and Alexis McAllister. Nobody's telling me that fella's not from Cork. Nobody is telling me that Alexis McAllister's cousins don't line out for the Cork hurling team. It's just not happening. But Caoimhín, I really want to see him do well. And I think for the good of his own career, he should move on. But what I will say is, again, I don't think you can blame him at all for that goal. It's just that he doesn't really fill you with confidence when you're watching.
Tired of ads crashing your comedy podcast party? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Just head to amazon.com/ad-free comedy to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime subscribers. Some shows may have ads.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
Yeah, and I think we obviously have a few young lads in the goalkeeper position, 90% of them Polish, Michael Edwards' trademark, still going strong. But you see the lads we just loaned out. I mean, Jaros is 22, if I remember correctly, so he's probably the right age to be backup keeper for maybe a year or two, and he's just gone to a decent Austrian team, I think it is. And Pitaluga's gone to St. Patrick's, is it? So in terms of age profile, I mean, if Kelleher does go, we could have Jaros for a year, maybe two, then Pitaluga, who would be 21 in a couple of years, if I think correctly. So if we are planning on bringing them two through, it probably makes sense timeline-wise. And if the summer Kelleher moves and we can promote Jaros, who probably more experienced of the two.
It's such a difficult position, though, isn't it, as well, for youngsters to come through? If you've got a striker, you can bring him on for 10 minutes here and there. Or you
exactly.
Can,
goalkeepers just can't do it. Like, only one can play. Like, that's the thing. If you've got a striker, you can bring him on for 10 minutes. You could stick him on the wing. Yeah. You know, you can find ways to get them game time. Same with defenders, with midfielders. You can put them in a position that's not necessarily the strongest just to get them some game time, some experience. You can't do it with your backup goalkeeper. And the issue with the backup goalkeeper is that they don't play for the other 21s. So, like, we could play Queevin in the other 21s as an overage player, but we don't because we need him on the bench for the first team. So he's not playing at all. If he was 24 and an outfield player and still at the club with 25 appearances under his belt, now you'd have serious concerns. But, like, you know, you look at someone like a Bobby Clark, for example, right? Over the next year or two, he'll be in and around the first team picture, but he'll also be playing 21s games. So he'll be getting minutes, he'll be getting reps in the team, gaining experience and stuff like that, whereas it can't happen for the goalkeepers. But I do like the idea, Guy, of moving him on, promoting Jaros, loaning out Pitaluga. I'd probably look to bring in another, experienced third keeper and let Adrian move on down the road somewhere.
The friends of the Spanish.
Yeah, But if you look at it, like, Queevin and Camille Grabara appeared together at Liverpool around the same time. They're, pretty much the same age. Grabara was 25 the day before yesterday. And Queevin...
Happy birthday, come in.
Queevin was... It was 25 in November. So Queevin's actually a month and a half older. Camille Grabara, in his senior career, has 186 games under his belt for clubs. And Queevin Kelleher has 32.
Case in point, when we just said how old Joe Gomez is, a year older, isn't he? We just played his 200th game.
That's the thing. And think of how much football Joe Gomez missed. Mm-hmm. Joe Gomez has probably missed another 100, 120 games through injury. But he would have done because he's here since pre-Klopp. So how many games did Bobby play for us? Because Joe arrived the same summer and Joe's still here. So, like, Joe's missed a ton of football and he's still got 6 times more experienced than Caoimhín Kelleher. But Camille Grabara has 6 times more experience than him as well, because he got a couple of loans, AGF, Huddersfield, AGF again, and then he pushed to leave. And we had to make a decision. Are we keeping Kelleher? Are we keeping Grabara? And it seems like Grabara just pushed harder to go. And he's gone on and he's become a top goalkeeper. He's been brilliant for Copenhagen. He's got a big move already lined up to join Wolfsburg in the summer coming for 13, 14 million quid, some of which will come our direction. And I doubt that's the last move he makes either.
Well, every time you watch those midweek goal shows in the Champions League, he's always eye-catching there. I think he had man of the matches against Bayern this season, if I remember correctly.
He's excellent against Bayern. He was excellent against United.
Got a face mask as well, so he's going pure Petr Cech.
100%, do you know? But like, he's been able to go and play. I don't know for certain that Caoimhín Kelleher is better than him, but Caoimhín Kelleher isn't more talented than him. We don't know that, but Grabara is a far better goalkeeper at this point because he's gone and played. Same thing, you look at the Irish team with Caoimhín, like he's got 11 caps. So he's got 1/3 the games for his national team that he does in his entire club career. But you look at Gavin Basunu, who's 4 years younger than him, and he's played 147 senior club games. Do you know? Like, that's why he's ahead of Caoimhín for the national team. It's why he's been able to develop. Caoimhín hasn't had the chance. It's not his fault, but it is something that needs to be considered both by him and by the club, even if it's just a loan. Even if we just think, let's loan him out for a year, then bring him back as backup keeper for a year, and then maybe sell him on or whatever. But we've got to let the lad go and play games. If he goes on a good loan next season, he'd play more games in that season than he has in his entire career to date. And again, he's 25.
Yeah, it's certainly strange, but I think it is important bringing it up because he's only going to have 2 more games left this season if Ali doesn't get injured again. Because it's a bit strange he doesn't get the FA Cup games, but Ali does play them for some reason. But it's an important discussion to have. Jim, anything you wanted to add on the goal if we circle back to there?
Yeah, I think it's just. As I said before, it's the sort of, here we go, like, this is the chance for us to react now. And if anything, he didn't get that reaction from us that I hoped. It was, it felt like they'd scored and we didn't kind of react to it in the way where we normally up the game, we move up a gear, finally pull our fingers out. We didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, goals happen in football, and although we didn't react today, it's how you react to them that matters. This happens, shit happens, and as great as Virgil's been for us all his time with us, just like as great as Ali's been all his time with us, they have these moments every so often where it doesn't quite work out. I mean, Conor Bradley tried his best to try and stop them from getting a goal, but I think he realised he might have given away a pen if he'd really gone for it. And Virgil did actually try and get back after his initial mistake to stop him. But I mean, that player that scored, he's not a bad player. He's not as good as he has been. He's not as good as maybe sometimes his height was, but he's got some good skill on him, hasn't he? And sometimes I think, it's quite easy to kind of look at the negatives and why you've conceded a goal and always look for the negatives, but Gary Neville does that all the time. He only looks for negatives. Sometimes look at the positives, and it's not positives for us, but from a positive point of view, it's a team that can score goals. It's got a lot of skill amongst it. A lot of players who maybe didn't quite, maybe would look back on the careers and think I could have done more than I did in my career. But a lot of players with decent skill there. It's just one of those moments, and in a way, we were just caught out because I would say up until then, I don't know what the stats were at that point, but it feels like we were in control of the game, just not finishing things off. And I think the way we play, this is going to happen, and I'd rather have 4-3s, 3-2s, 2-1s than have scraped 1-0s in my, as far as I'm concerned. Clean sheets are all well and good. I just like a good win, and I like a bit of excitement while it's happening. And I think as the game goes on, we did that, and on a whole, that's what Liverpool do.
Mind, we did enter the lull period of the game. We did have a few more opportunities, but yes, it wasn't great after the goal till half time. Elliott has a half chance of the back post. It was offside anyway. Sadly, Andreas Pereira passed away mid-game because he got flicked in the jaw.
God, I'd already sort of written down about him. Like he was trying to get someone, but before that as well, he'd gone flying from some minor foul, and he was looking at the ref like he'd been murdered. I'm not sure how you look at someone like you've been murdered, because you can't do that, can you? But anyway, he was looking at the ref in such a way, and all through the game, he was just trying it and trying and trying. I just don't know what it is. Don't like him. Don't like his attitude. So to speak.
He did play for Man United, Jim. So
that might be why. That might be it. I might have a bit of bias in me, but I don't think so. He was just. What's the word? Gamesmanship, I think, is what there's a nice way to put it.
Shit house.
Yes.
That's the one. Gravenberch catches the ball before it goes out for a throw-in.
Oh, God.
Fantastic stuff. Jota catches Tosin on the ball. Then Diaz probably should have played Elliott in, but he played it back to Jota. That was probably our best opportunity in that first half, off the top of my head. Mark takes a free kick, was kind of shit, as were they all game. We need Trent and Dunn back for set pieces. Fulham have a half chance. Diaz gets back and defends well. Klopp nearly runs onto the pitch to jaw David Coote because he doesn't give advantage. Van Dijk gives a foul away. There was a bit, as I mentioned, David Coote was the referee, so Van Dijk second half was pretty much flawless. Didn't have loads to do, but he didn't get tangled up in any more silly fouls. And then one of those Gomez shots just to round off the first half. Dave, anything you want to speak about out the notes I mentioned, or anything I missed there in the first half before we move on to the second?
No, I think you've covered it all.
Anyway, it wasn't great, was it? So we'll move on to the second. I walked back into the room from the kitchen seeing a Grav shot replay, and then he has another one a couple of minutes later. Dave, obviously, it's a player you're not overly enamoured with, and you did give him praise after the weekend because he did come on and make an impact. But I think the stats at half-time, he'd won one duel out of 11. I think they're on Sam Maguire's timeline anyway, if they aren't accurate. But Grav's a weird player. He's a very weird player.
That first half display was absolutely pathetic. Like, let's just call it what it was. It was absolutely pathetic. He touched the ball 43 times and gave it away 14 times. That is abysmal, utterly abysmal. And I think at half time he'd won 1 of 8 duels, and you're right, 1 of 11. 1 of 11 in duels at half time. And there's just nothing positive you can say about the way he's playing. Like, he had a good sub-appearance against Arsenal. He had a good sub-appearance against City. And other than that, you're going back to, September looking for a decent performance from him. He's just been really, really poor. He doesn't seem to have any real fight in him. There's no determination. There's no drive. He's 6'3". He plays like he's Harvey Elliott size. Gets bullied off the ball routinely. Starts getting into situations today where the ball's been played into him as we're trying to build out from, pressure situations. We're trying to play through their press. And he's trying to flick it and lay it off. His first touch was atrocious today. And this is what people warned against when we bought him. That this is the player you're getting. Yes, he's very, very talented. But there's very clearly issues. 2 managers at Bayern Munich had a look at him, and within 6 months, both of them had said, no thanks. Don't want anything to do with this fella. And not just 2 scrubs, not 2 Frank Lampard, Sean Dyche level managers. Julian Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel, 2 of the best coaches in world football. They both had a look at him and thought, no, definitely not. And when Tuchel was explaining why they were letting him go, he's like, well, we play a double pivot. He can't play in a double pivot. You'd have to ask the question, why can't a 6'3" midfielder playing a double pivot? Why have you decided to just get rid of him? There was more to it, obviously. He's lazy off the ball. He's poor on the ball. At times, he does certain things well. In the second half, he had one really good moment where he used his size, used his strength, drove forward, opened up the opportunity, and unfortunately just pulled his shot past the post. That's the only positive involvement he had in that game today.
He's a match of the day player, isn't he? So if that was a match of the day highlights reel that was shown tonight, like a 15-minute highlight, you'd see his 2 efforts on goal, and you wouldn't see all the mistakes he made because he wouldn't bother putting that in. And it'd be, he's not a bad player. No, he's not. He's a match. He's a YouTube player, a match of the day player. He's a TikTok
That's exactly it. Yeah, short clips compiled from multiple games, but you can make anybody look. I could get someone to put together a reel of clips from Lazar Markovic's Liverpool career that make him look like a worldie. Like, we live in a world where Paul Pogba spent 6 years at United and was dog shit for the entirety of that time, bar 1 year. And there were still people trying to claim he was one of the best midfielders in the world, because they were watching YouTube clips of him for France and for Juve 4 years before, and from that one season at United. And they were presenting this as evidence of, look how great this player is. And it was the same thing when we signed Gravenberch. People were presenting these highlight reels of him at 16 and 17 at Ajax 4 and 5 years ago. Nothing from his last year at Ajax. Nothing from his year at Bayern. 1 or 2 clips maybe, but nothing substantial. Look at the player we're buying. No, that's not the player we're buying. We're buying the idea of a player that hasn't existed in 2 years. Now, if there's one man who can get him back on board and get into his head and make him understand how good he could be, not how good he thinks he can be, but how good he could actually be, because he is of the opinion that he's a great player. That's well known. He bought into the hype a long time ago. But he could be a sensationally good player, just not in the manner he thinks. If he would learn to use the size, the strength, the speed he has, the technical ability he has, and harness that in the right way, he wouldn't be the all-encompassing Paul Pogba notion that he might think he wants to be. But he could be a hell of a footballer. But he just doesn't seem to have it in his head. I don't know. Like, he's only been at the club, 4 or 5 months. But it's not promising. It's not looking promising. And the issue for us is that if we decided after the end of this season, well, maybe we should move him on, best of luck finding a buyer for him. Because if Bayern have given up on him and then we give up on him, it's going to be hard to convince anyone to give us any kind of real money.
Well, he has worked with Eric Ten Hag, so there's always that.
Do you know what? There should be a rule. We should have a strict rule that if Eric Ten Hag is really interested in a player, we just don't buy them.
That's very true. Remember when we were linked with Anthony?
I know. Oh God! I know we wouldn't have Cody, but that's a sacrifice I'd be okay making to just avoid all things Ten Hag, because look at the money he has wasted.
Yeah,
I don't think of it as a waste myself. But
well, no, I think he should do more of that.
Yes.
All the Ajax lads. Jim, coming to you, I mean, it is strange because I didn't watch him at Ajax other than games against us. I basically knew him from Football Manager when we signed him in the summer. I won't lie, but as Dave alluded, there is minerals there for a great player. And it is early. He's not really had consistent football basically his whole time at Bayern. And we have been overly patient with midfielders, specifically midfielders in the past, i.e. Naby, Ox, etc. So I doubt we'll cut bait with him anytime soon. But yeah, it's going to be probably a big maybe not second half of the season, probably a big summer and then start of next season for him. But we do need to see more from him in the short term as well, especially whilst Dom, Mo and Trent are out.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own Two-Footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m, Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's the thing. I think if those weren't out, and I was thinking, if everyone's fit, I just can't. I'm not even sure he gets on the bench, the way he's been playing. And maybe that would be something he'd benefit from, sort of. It's not quite the same, but, when Robbo, we didn't see Robbo for months, and then all of a sudden, we'd managed to get him up to speed behind the scenes, and out came this amazing player. It feels like, maybe what he needs is to not be in the limelight, not to be, watched by loads of people thinking he's great because everyone claps him, or he thinks they're clapping him when they're doing nothing of the sort. Maybe he needs a bit of time out the limelight to get where he is. Maybe we're going to end up having to send him out on loan, because I just don't think it's difficult. Like you've got to balance between, giving players a chance, especially younger players, giving them the chance to learn from mistakes. They're not going to learn from mistakes until they get the chance to go and make the mistake, so to speak. So you've got to give them some of that time. But doing that, you can only afford to do that with some players. And you've still got to kind of be seeing some sort of results from that, some kind of progress. And, whatever system you use to mark Gravenberch, there's nothing on there, no graph of his in terms of quality. He's going up. He's not improved at all since he came in. He's, he had some good moments earlier on in the season, and he's gone downhill since then. He's had a couple of good moments since, and moments aren't enough. So, I'm not sure how we're going to handle it, but I do honestly think that when everyone's fit and well, he's going to struggle to get in the side, and it might be that the way to deal with that is to send him out on loan, which sounds mad when you paid so much for a player. It's just, I'm not even sure, what role we should have him. And, it's sort of, people thought at first, I can remember Dave fuming about it, people thought he was our holding midfielder that we were buying. He's not. So what is he? And yeah, he's young. That's the only thing I can say for him. But I think really, if it wasn't for all the injuries, I think the best thing for him would be for him to be continuing his development out of the limelight, because
I like that.
We haven't got the time. No,
we don't. And we're in a title race. We're chasing honours, and you can't have passengers. And he is a passenger almost every time he plays. That's the thing. Like, people were trying to make the argument that this guy could be our 6. He played there at Ajax. No, he didn't. All you're telling me with that statement is that you didn't watch Ajax play. Edson Alvarez was the 6 there, and when Gravenberch played with him, Alvarez did all the dog work, and Gravenberch did what Gravenberch does. He's never been a defensive midfielder because he's hopeless defensively. The fella couldn't tackle a hot dinner. 1 out of 11 duels in a half of football. Like, come on.
You're not going to endear yourself to the fans around Anfield.
Yeah.
You're not going to endear yourself to the fans around Anfield if you don't put your foot in now and again,
That's the thing. Like, that is the thing. And it's not just the tackles, it's the aerial things as well. I think he's won like 7 aerials in his time at the club. Like, you're 6'3". He got out-jumped by John Fleck when we played Sheffield United. John Fleck is 5'8". Gravenberch is the better part of a foot taller than him.
He should be an extra threat at set pieces, shouldn't he?
Yeah. Even just at body. But you watch him when we have a set piece, and teams don't really care what he's doing. He just kind of ambles around the place. Do you know the other thing as well? This is not a knock against him. I was watching him sprint today, and I was like, he runs in a really strange way, but it's like a run that I've seen before. He runs kind of like Raheem Sterling, with his chest out and his head back. Like, remember Raheem used to have that really odd kind of gait as he'd run, and people used to mock him and say it was like watching a swan run.
A Jurassic Park theme music.
Yeah, Gravenberch runs kind of the same way, except Raheem is 5'7" and he's 6'3", so it just looks a bit stranger. But, like, there is talent there. There absolutely is talent there. And the physique is there. It's just about getting into his head. And maybe Jurgen needs to take him completely away from the first team and lock him in a room with just, I don't know, videos of Vinnie Jones and David Batty and say, you're not getting out until you have tackled your way through the walls. Go and tackle your way through that concrete wall there, son, and then we'll put you back on the pitch. But for now, like, we're short on numbers, so he's going to have to play. We need so much more from him than we got tonight and than we're getting in most games.
Yeah, and the annoying thing is, as you both said, the talent is there. If we get it out of him, it'll be a mint story as well, because redemption from a once worldly thought of talent, it'd be really good. Crap way of putting this, advertisement of the club that if you were a fallen talent, I'm doing air quotes for the sake of the podcast, you can come here and rejuvenate your career, etc. But you do need the buy-in from the player. But as I mentioned, hopefully he has a big pre-season. Klopp can beat him or something, or we can get Buvac back and lock him in the room, as Dave says, just make him eat roid flakes like he did with Joe Gomez back in the day. But we'll move on from Gravenberch, because I think that will be one that rumbles on as the games come thick and fast. But we certainly did improve in the second half, and I think the subs made the bigger chance, but we'll work our way up to that. Jim, I mentioned the two Gravenberch shots. Elliott has a deflected shot that falls to Jota. He just couldn't get his feet right, and Castagna defends really well. Pereira died again. R.I.P. Ball hit him in the back, so he had to die. Nice give and go with Graven Jota. Jota should probably shoot earlier. I think it's where he cut in one too many times, and that's just before the sub. So we did start playing a bit more threateningly, I'd probably say, Jim, before the subs at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Gravenberch had those two chances early on shows that whatever was said at half time, it was like, try and get your chances, try and have efforts in you. And to be fair to Gravenberch, I mean, both of those efforts were worth a try. He probably could have done better with both of them, but, and one of them he made himself, it was a little moment of goodness from him. But he wasn't the only. I mean, that Jota effort, I honestly thought he was going to get it, but it was just, he felt like he was taking off his toes, but maybe he took it off his own toes. And there's also, just at this point, I think I was seeing signs now that Fulham are looking a bit rattled now. They hadn't looked rattled all game. I mean, there was that point where Willian, he was sort of forced into giving away a corner, but he was still whining about a free kick he wanted a while earlier. It was just, he was just starting to turn a little bit by this point. Pereira as well. I've got a lot of complaints about Coop. I mean, he was the guy that was the VAR when Van Dijk was crippled by Pickford. There's other times we've had him as not been a great ref for us. He wasn't great today, but one thing I did like he did today was when Pereira was injured, and he shouted the physios on straight away, he made him have physios. He made him go off. He made him wait 30 seconds, which I think that is a good way to deal with that kind of acting, because he was clearly play acting. So go along with it, string him along. Oh, I've fallen for that. You must be injured. Here come the physios, and you're off the pitch for 30 seconds. So I did like that bit from Coop, but yeah, that was one a bit like Gravenberch, really. A couple of good moments out of a lot of bad ones, really. In fact, I wrote at halftime, Gravenberch awful, worse than the ref who was bad. So that sort of sums it up. And to be fair to Coop, I don't think I think he probably did still just get edged by Gravenberch today. But yeah, it was looking like we were really starting to to put things together now. We had a bit more intensity. That the crowd seemed to live off that as well. The crowd seemed to be lifted by it. There was that moment. Elliot almost found Diaz, I've written down. There was just little moments like that where it felt like it was getting closer, and the creativity was just starting to show. And I was actually by this point surprised Elliot was one of the ones that went off. But I suppose you have to do something. I would have thought Elliot might have moved back into midfield instead of Gravenberch, but fair enough. We had to sort of do what we did. It worked out in the end. But yeah, I think, we're so thin on the ground at the minute with players. Having those two warming up and getting ready to come on, for all that people have been critical of both players at times this season, especially fans of other teams, it really felt like getting those two ready to come on was going to send a message out, and it did.
Yeah, and the message was sent to bring them on, Dave. We brought on... my notes are a mess. We brought on Gakpo and Darwin for Elliot and Gravenberch. This was about the 56th minute. I'm not sure what formation we went to. It was like a 4-2-4, but Gomez was in midfield quite a lot. But it seemed to take us a little while to get used to the new setup, Dave.
Yeah, very much so. We got, I think, a little bit too complicated for about 5 minutes, and didn't really seem to know what it was we were meant to be doing, other than everybody committing themselves forward and leaving gaps behind. And they had a couple of opportunities where they broke in behind. There was one where the ball was it was a poor ball played across, one where De Cordova-Reid broke in. Virgil was getting there to make the challenge. I don't think he was going to do much, but he took a shot rather than trying to square the ball. Mm-hmm. I had Nigel Spackman on commentary, and Nigel Spackman has never been particularly good as a pundit or commentator. But he came out with some belters today. It was very funny to listen to him. At one point in the first half, he said Liverpool should probably take off Van Dijk. They have plenty of options on the bench. And the main commentator said, well, they've only really got Jarrell Quansah on the bench. And then he started going, oh, yeah, but they could move Joe Gomez to centre-back and bring on Owen Beck. I'm thinking, yeah, fair enough. Owen Beck has never played for our first team in any kind of meaningful game. So, to throw him on at this point and take off our captain and best defender and, the best player on the pitch, not tonight, but in general, probably not the best idea. And he had some other fucking belters, but he was very upset that De Cordova-Reid didn't square that cross. Very, very upset by it.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Ibu, was it Jimenez who was at the back post? I think Ibu would have overtook him if need be. So, yeah, it's a bit of anything, if really. I think it's not too bad a decision to shoot. Maybe could have tested the keep. Maybe could have just finished it better. That's probably the main complaint if I was a Fulham fan. But yeah, Jim, we did seem to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get used to the new formation before we started getting Darwin and Gakpo and Jota more involved, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I know just after we made the changes, they had, it felt like a worrying moment because Jimenez was running towards the goal, but Konate just had him covered. And I think although Jimenez did manage to get a cross through, it was pretty, or a pass through, it was pretty hopeless because of how much good work Konate had done. And I think that's something important to say about today, as much as we're thinking about the attacking, because we need to go out and get a goal. It's that, and considering Virgil was on a booking as well, it was a good defensive display all round. I thought, when we're so gung-ho, if you like, when we're trying so hard to score, they're going to have moments where they're going to attack us and put us under pressure. But I never really felt worried, I'll be honest, in that second half. Maybe that one I've just mentioned was one of those moments. We just did enough to keep them at bay. But yeah, it took us a bit of a while, like you say, just to kind of work out what was going on. And in a way, it's sort of, we talked about Gravenberch. He started because there were no other midfielders available. So to not start him, you'd either have to play a kid or play someone, technically out of position. Gakpo isn't a midfielder, but he sort of, you're thinking, is this what he's going to do? And I just think because we were so attack minded at this point, we perhaps didn't realise that what we're basically doing. We were playing with a lot of forwards here. At one point, it really did feel like we just had two at the back, and even they were getting advanced a lot, and it took us a while to sort of work this out, that we're just going for it. And the speed of our lads...
Diaz touched the ball for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I would have done, to be honest, today. I thought Diaz looked good on the right the other day against Arsenal when he went over, and I would have liked to have seen that today. Darwin on the left, Diaz on the right. Let Gakpo and Jota both be central in different ways, but what I did like today was the link up between Gakpo and Nunez. I mean, I don't know what's gone on there, but they look like two best mates. Just like there was a real sort of, I don't know what it is, sort of like, sort of sixth sense between each other about where they're going to pass the ball and what they're going to do and what run to make. It was interesting to see that today. I've not really noticed it with those two as much as I did
probably
today.
Not played too much together.
No. And I think, this is something we can look at exploiting. I mean, we've got no Salah for however long. Let's give some of these things a try. I don't think we're always going to play four forwards, for want of a better word, at the same time. But to me, it worked. It worked today. It just took us a little bit of a time to work out what it was. And I don't know if there was also a bit of an element today of people sort of getting used to Trent's playing in the centre and he wasn't there. There were times when even I was thinking, where's Trent in the middle, in the middle of midfield, and he wasn't there. But it was good to see the fullbacks playing the way they did. And as that game went on, I mean, Conor Bradley just grew more and more confidence in that game. And the cameos I've seen of him up until now, I've seen a good player, a good player with a lot of potential. He's good at defending, and he's got such an attack-minded way about him. And the other thing, he's got the bravery. He looks around. He's looking for things. When Gakpo was playing out wide, you could see Conor Bradley was more central, but he was constantly just watching what was going on, watching where Cody was, just getting ready to do what he needs to do. He's got a lot of intelligence for such a young lad, a lot of skill, a lot of enthusiasm. I hope we just can ease him into things, though, not playing too much, because obviously young players, it doesn't always do them the best, does it?
Yeah, but to be fair, sometimes it only takes a cameo to spark a career, doesn't it? Because that Arsenal cameo starts it and gets a good performance against Fulham, who, as we mentioned towards the start, Willian's a good player. He's a very, very proven Premier League player. And
Fulham as well. I mean, if of all the teams to have a cameo against, that's where Robbie Fowler kicked his career off, isn't it? Playing them in this competition.
Too old for me, Jim. Gerrard, I'll tell you about Jack Robinson against Arsenal if you want. I'll go with that. So it is really nice about Bradley having such a promising performance, because I think there was question marks. I can't remember the game. It might have been one of the League Cup rounds where we did play some of the youngsters. I might be incorrect.
I think it was the Europa League game.
Was it? Yeah, it was the Europa League, wasn't it? I forgot we're in that horrible competition. And I think people came away doubting, and some of the young lads a bit. But Bradley, 2 good performances in a row. And that's all it takes. Dave, coming to you before our goals. Handball? ?
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
And the Anthony Robinson one?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah. I think he gets unfortunate with the way the ball bounces. I think there's a spin on it, but I think it is a handball. And I think if there's VAR, I think it's given, because they showed a couple of replays and on the coverage I was watching, and there was, it was fairly clear cut, I thought. And the commentators both said it. Initially, they thought that he'd headed it on to his arm.
That's what I thought.
And then they showed close up replays, and it just kind of spun and bounced up and hit his arm. So I think it is a fairly stonewall penalty, but no VAR. So David Coote didn't have a good angle on it apparently. So which means he was probably looking at it. Do you know who David Coote reminds me of when I see him making the decisions that he makes? Is it Snatch or is it Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, where the two boys go to rob the bookies? I think it's Snatch. They go to rob the bookies and they hire Tyrone, the driver, and he reverses full pelt back into somebody. And the guy said he couldn't see the car because it was behind him because it was at a funny angle. And the other fella says, "It was behind you, Tyrone. When you reverse, things come from behind you." That's who David Coote reminds me of as a referee. Like, he's looking at something and he's like, "I can't see it. It's at a strange angle. It's right in front of you. You're just not very good at your job." And like, I don't know about you boys, but I, for one, am shocked that after all the evidence that is mounted up against David Coote over the years, that he's not a good referee. And I'm actually genuinely shocked he still has a job in the Premier League. He is really, really poor.
Mind, if you sacked bad referees, who'd be refereeing?
Maybe some of the referees would get their act together if some of the shit ones got sacked. Like, they can't all be terrible, but they're not being held to any kind of standard, so they're getting away with being poor.
Yeah, when we talk about players, we talk about the importance of competition, don't we? You don't just have one really good left back. You want someone who's sort of breathing down his neck in training and might just take his place if he gets an injury, so they're always putting the best performances in. With referees, it's like, I don't know, you seem to get, I don't know, you get congratulated for being shit, don't you? You're so shit that a manager kicks off about you, and the manager gets punished for daring to point out how shit you were, and it feels like you're rewarded for shitness, which it's just not going to breed us good referees, is it? And I agree, it was definitely a handball. It was a handball in the current way of doing things. I mean, sometimes when you hear pundits say, never a handball, it's because it wasn't a handball sort of 15 years ago.
If you had the Sky coverage, I think he said, if that would be given in Europe, I was like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure, I can't remember who the co-commentator was, but it was Sky's, 12 choice team.
Yeah, it was definitely their reserves, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Jim, I'll stick with you for the first goal then. Deflected shot by Jones. But Jota, we've not really talked about so far. I mean, some stuff we mentioned he did overcomplicate. Some maybe should have shot a bit earlier at times, etc. But he pressed like a demon and kept winning the ball back, even when stuff wasn't clicking too well up top. But, talk about Jota and the deflected goal.
Yeah, I mean, just before the goal as well, I think there was this, I just while I remember, there was this sort of McAllister cross shot. I don't know if it was a cross, I don't know if it was a shot, but the keeper tipped it over, and that sort of, I think that might have been the corner that sort of eventually led to the goal, if that makes sense. It was just a little moment of pressure, and this was only a couple of minutes after that handball that Coote couldn't see. It was just sort of, again, this little moment of intensity coming from us. And then just before that, there was Bradley hat down right on the edge of the area. Still no cards at this point from Coote, apart from the one for Virgil. But the goal, it's just Jota's just got this sort of reputation as being sort of super sub, and sometimes the reason for that is because when he comes on the pitch, there's just this attitude he's got of just going looking for trouble, just going, just running with the ball, just causing problems, which sometimes works better when you're a sub because everyone else is pretty much knackered compared to you. But the fact he was still doing this 67 minutes in says that, maybe there's more to him than this super sub tag that we've given him. But I'm not sure whether Jones actually got given the goal in the end because it was deflected. But it was a prime example of what I've talked about earlier on in the game, where, have a go, have an effort. I mean, don't have an aimless shot that's obviously going to go over the bar. if you can make the goalkeeper work, if you can make a defender panic, if you can have an effort that might hit the bar, might hit the post, might hit one of their defenders' legs, if it doesn't go in, and there's a chance it will, if it doesn't go in, there's a chance that someone's going to be around to pick up the pieces. And in a way, that's what happened with Jones. He had that effort, which, it wasn't that speculative. I think he knows he's capable of scoring from there. He backed himself to do it. And no small thanks to Jota's work in the build-up. It was deflected in. Whether it would have gone in without the deflection, I don't know. But it was keeping the pressure on. And it makes all the difference doing that. It's what wins games, keeping the pressure on, but actually trying to do something with it. And it's what we weren't doing at times in the first half. By this point in the second half, it's what we were doing pretty much every time we had the ball near the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave, we didn't really have to wait long for the second goal. I mean, Gakpo, it's a lovely finish. It's a lovely move as well. You mentioned Darwin's assist numbers earlier on in the pod. Him and Jota combine really well on the left-hand side, and it's just a nice flash across not even across the box, just into Gakpo, and it's a nice finish in the box. Who needs the lads to create chances, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great finish from Cody Gakpo, and it's really well worked. Jones gets us moving, gets it to Jota, he drives. Darwin makes a really good run, times it well, Jota slides him in. I thought the first touch was actually a bit heavy, but he was actually creating the space for himself in case the defender got back. And he finds Gakpo perfectly, and it's a great finish. And I saw a few people say maybe the win flattered us a bit. I don't think it did. I think if you look at the stats for the second half of that game, we dominated the second half. And I think, we were absolutely good value for our 2 goals. We had 14 shots and 6 on target in the second half. They had 2 shots with 1 on target. So, we also had 4 shots that were blocked. They had 1 that was blocked. We had 5 corners. They had 1. I do think we really did. Once we made the subs and kind of found our feet when people realised, what the new shape was going to be, I do think we started to look much more like ourselves. And I think we were fully deserving of our win. And, Darwin obviously plays a big part. Cody obviously plays a big part. But Jota played a huge part in it as well. And you mentioned the first goal and just how tenacious he was to keep that going. And that's the kind of assist from Darwin that I don't like counting as an assist, because all he's done is laid the ball off to somebody 20-odd yards from goal. But the second one's a real assist. It's a proper assist. He's actually created an opportunity there, and Cody finishes it brilliantly.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Would that be the 3 forwards for the second leg? Because that's our next game, isn't it? Would it be Jota?
No, we play Bournemouth next.
Isn't that the week after? Because we have the weekend off, don't we?
No, we play Bournemouth next. Then we play...
Yeah, Bournemouth 21st, Fulham 24th.
Fulham, and then we play Bristol or Norwich
so we just
in the Cup.
We have a week off, right?
Yeah, we've 10 days basically from or 11 days.
Right. Is that the 3 lads you'd pick for the forward line next time? Jota, Gakpo, Darwin?
No, I'd start Diaz right side, Jota through the middle, and Darwin off the left, and bring Cody off the bench. Or maybe start Cody right side of midfield, but hopefully Dominic is back by then.
Yeah, we had move Elliott back there, but he's a bit hit and miss at times.
I think he's just better off the bench. I think he's better off the bench. I didn't think he was bad today at all. Certainly didn't think he deserved to be hauled off with Gravenberch, who, should have been brought off at half time. But I could understand the logic in taking Harvey off. But I just think he is better off the bench against tired defenders. When there's a bit more space and the game is moving a bit more quickly end to end, I think that suits Harvey a bit more. So I'd be looking at Diaz, Jota, Darwin as the front 3 for the Bournemouth game.
No, that's fair. That is fair. Where are we up to? Basically, not too much else happens. Obviously, Darwin forces an excellent save. There's a few other things. Bradley wins a free kick. Plays I think he nutmegs Paulinho. That might have just been before the goals, actually. Darwin has some nice footwork. Gakpo whips the ball in from the right. Good Darwin header, good save. Darwin has another shot And then 87th minute, Jim, that's when Darwin forces a huge save from Leno. Maybe keeping it a close tie, because at 3-1, 1 foot in the final, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking this. The commentary team on Sky was sort of talking about the way Liverpool were playing like it was the deciding match, but it's such an important game to get that. To get the job done pretty much in the first leg is a massive thing to do. I mean, you can't relax in the second leg, but you can go into it in a totally different way. And 3-1 definitely would have done that. Whereas 2-1, it's too close. It's still just that one goal, but it's a better position to be in than where we were at halftime. And yeah, it's true. I mean, I think Dave's saying if anyone's saying the scoreline flatters us, does it? I just don't agree. I think. As that game went on, the intensity from us just kept going. And if you notice, early on in the game, even when we were ahead, there were times when Fulham were looking to come and break and looking to score other goals. As that game went on, to me, Fulham just got to a point where they just thought we've got to try and limit it to 2-1. They were thinking that way. They were thinking rather limit it to 2-1 than go to 3-1. And their chances of going forward were much more few and far between. They seem to be sitting back a lot more, and it was a sign that we very much had them under the cosh. And if anything, when we beat them 4-3 in the league, that was a much closer game, and that was probably a game where you could argue that we were lucky to win, because it was 4 amazing goals against their 3. This was different. This was just constantly looking to create things and getting close. Nunez was close with that one. I was just thinking as well, actually, we talked earlier about the set pieces. I know we probably didn't expect Trent to be missing. We would have expected him to start today until he got injured the other day, and it's not that long ago, that game. But have we gone all season without letting anybody else have a practice of taking set pieces? Because it feels like it was McAllister getting all of them, and he wasn't. They just weren't working out, and we weren't sort of switching it around. Apart from when Nunez had a go, which was a shame. But I wonder, is that another thing to do, to give Nunez some chances at set pieces? We need to work on them, because we do get them, and it was disappointing today how poor most of ours were. They just weren't great. By this point towards the end of the game, I think it was just. What is it? 87 minutes. I've got Bradley winning the ball. It was so close. It was Bradley crossed to Darwin, which was saved. It was that one, wasn't it, that we were just talking about? That was sort of a little moment that epitomised what we were doing. That the chances were coming from all across the field. There was different players getting involved in the build-up to all of these chances, and at no point really did I feel worried at this point that we were going to concede and get it back to 2-2.
No, I was the same. I think this season, like, Trent obviously takes most of the set pieces. Dominic has taken a bunch, he's out. Yeah. Mo has taken some, he's out. And Robbo's taken some, and he's out as well. So Alexis is just sort of the 5th in line. We might want to look for the 6th in line for the next game. But I think just on that Darwin chance, just the reaction on social media is what you'd expect. Oh, a typical Darwin miss. Can we actually open our eyes and look at what happened? It's a good attempt. It's a great save. Like, it's a genuinely great save. If Alisson makes that save for us in a game, we don't mention the fact that the striker has missed. We just bring up how brilliant our goalkeeper is. So why can't we do the same and just admit their goalkeeper has made a brilliant save? Yes, you'd like Darwin to score from there, but he does everything right. The keeper just makes an unbelievable save. That's the be-all and end-all of it. Like, we need to start giving goalkeepers credit for doing their side of it and not just hammering the centre forward, be it ours or somebody else's.
It's the Gary Neville disease, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Focus on the negatives, never look at the positives. Did you see the look that Darwin gave to Klopp as he was sort of running back up after that miss, after that save? This, like, there's a bit of understanding between them there, as if Klopp's saying to him, it's coming. And I think one of the first people Klopp went on to the pitch to congratulate, or one of the early ones, was Leno. He went and stood and had a good chat to him. So, psychology-wise, the feeling is, from me, is that Klopp's totally got Darwin's back, and he knows what he's doing for the team is good, and that the goals are going to come as well as everything else.
Exactly. I like to think that when German people get together these days, they're just reminiscing about their favourite Franz Beckenbauer moment or something like that. So that's what I think Jurgen and Leno were talking about. I know we're wrapping up. Just to give some quick numbers here. Conor Bradley, 88% pass completion, 2 big chances created, 1 6 of 6 tackles, 1 9 duels. Now, that's 9 of 19, which isn't great, but still, it's still good. 6 ball recoveries. Curtis Jones, 47 out of 48 passes successful, 98% pass completion, 1 chance created, 4 shots, 1 goal, and 4 attempted dribbles. They were the 2 best players for us tonight, I think. So fair play. I think all in all we deserved our win, and it would have been nice if it was a bit more comfortable. But we'll go again in a couple of weeks, and I'd back us to go there and not lose, and that's all we need to do now. All we need to do now is go there and not lose, and we're through.
I'd back us in a penalty shootout. Just an extra number. XG wise, 1.73 to 0.32. So I don't know where undeserving win comes from. I know it's a bit boring just doing XG. But
it was much lower than that, wasn't it, at half time, Liverpool? So maybe
I imagine so. Yeah.
People have just sort of looked at the half time stat and then not watched the rest of the game.
Good job, games don't end at half time, eh?
No.
Otherwise we'd be shit, especially this season. Finishing up as Dave said. Dave, any plugs or last thoughts from you?
No, just again, it's really good to see how strong the mindset of this team is, where we go a goal behind, it's our own fault that we're behind, and we just continue to go at it, and we have players coming off the bench that can change the game for us, and we'll start getting lads back. At the moment, we're very short, but we are going to start getting lads back. Dominic will be back next, then Robbo and Costas come back, and then 2 lads that, I don't know, do they actually play for us? Some Stefan Bisetic fella and some lad called Alcantara. Apparently we have them under contract. They're due back in February at some point. So, Mo will be back and Endo will be back, and we've got a lot of football left this season. So just keep enjoying it.
Yeah, and Jim, same for you. Any plugs / last thoughts?
Yeah, just thinking, when I was talking about Robbie Fowler before in this competition, he scored all 5 goals in the second leg. But that was back in the day when second round ties involved teams like Liverpool and had 2 legs. I think he scored all 5 goals in the second leg at Anfield after scoring one of the goals in the first leg. So, it's the competition that can be a stepping stone. And that's, maybe is the stepping stone, is sort of the moment where Conor Bradley sort of announces himself to the world. We'll see. It would be great to think we had another right back who could play, whether it's competition for Trent, whether it's backup for Trent, or whether it's just to allow Trent to go and play somewhere else. This competition is kind of done down, and I think, what a difference now compared to a couple of years ago when we were in that Club World Championship and we had to play not just kids. We played school children, I think, in some cases, against Villa, and everyone made out how great Villa were that day. We was just such, it was an awful way to treat the competition, really disrespectful from the EFL, I thought, at the time. There should have been a way found to deal with that, but there wasn't. But look at it now. The competition that's played down, but we're one, as they say, 1 foot in the final, 2-1 up, play anything like we did today, and I don't see it being a problem in the next leg. Certainly if we play like we did in the second half. And, they've got to come at us if they want to get something out of it. So it gives us the chance to be dangerous to them, because, they have those moments of danger today that had us a little bit worried in the first half, not madly worried, as we've seen what they can do when they played us in the league. But, going down to their place, I just think, I don't want to sort of say it's a job done, because it never is in football, and that's the last thing you can think. But we can relax. We've got 10 days off, all the players at least anyway, 10 days off, league game to deal with, second leg, and I think we've got a good chance of doing it. And, this month's going to be a hectic month despite that gap. Quite a lot of games in this month, but at least we've not got a replay in the FA Cup, and at least, we've kind of got a good start, if you like, at this halfway stage in the tie. Down to the bare bones though now in the squad, and we really do need to start seeing those players come back. But what I've loved is that the fact that these players have just have just kept going. You know, they've had to go in, maybe with one or two notable exceptions where you sort of not happy with the performances. On the whole, we've seen some wonderful performances for these players who, it must be said, must be starting to feel a little bit worn out with all of it now, because they're not getting as much rotation as maybe they'd like. But at the same time, they just look so hungry, so desperate to go out and win a game. And it's great to see from a Liverpool side. You know, we've complained down the years about Liverpool sides that have just gone out looking like they can't be bothered. And even this season, I'll say we've said that. But we seem to be, the momentum is just going and going and going. We're getting faster and faster towards the goals that we all want this season. So hopefully we get them. And no harm in starting off with the League Cup. And you know what? People will be talking about this unprecedented quadruple before long if we're not careful, which I don't think I expected myself to say that back in September. So I've enjoyed that win tonight. Only halfway. It's a big win, though. It's an important win. As far as plugs are concerned, if you want them, I think we're going to try and do a Scout of Tommy's this week. Try and fit one in this week, because we've got a bit to talk about, a couple of cup games.
Absolutely, and as you say, it'll be 10 days till the next Raw. I'm guessing Trev's back for that. I haven't looked in the Discord in a little while, but I think he might miss the Chelsea game. I think that's the one he misses. But we will be back for then. We'll have pods in the meantime. So from me, Dave, Jim, and my stupid dog who's been snoring in the background and annoying me, and probably you, goodbye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index, and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Tired of ads interrupting your gripping investigations? Good news. Ad-free listening on Amazon Music is included with your Prime membership. Ads shouldn't be the scariest thing about true crime. Just head to Amazon.com/ad-free true crime to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads. Enjoy thousands of Acast shows ad-free for Prime subscribers. Some shows may have ads.